We have the greatly anticipated Para 3 lightweight that will compare to my Manix 2 lightweight, as well as my Delica 4. Shabwam! Yeah, that's right, lightweight. As soon as you guys saw it on Facebook and Instagram, you guys were like, come on, I've been waiting for it. Well, I've had it now for a while, and I can tell you that I am pumped to give you my feedback, my opinion, and that's all this is, guys. It's my opinion. It's an educated opinion, but it's just my opinion on what I feel the Para 3 is, where it fits into the lineup of Spyderco blades, because I own many of them. I love Spyderco. I live like 40 miles from the factory here in Colorado. And what connects with me about the design, what are a few drawbacks of the design, and whether or not it's going to be the right tool for you. Now, right out of the gate, I'm going to tell you this, that between the Para 3, which I reviewed last year, I think, when they released it with the G10 and all that, and I believe the S30V steel, and this lightweight version, if I was going to go with one or the other, I'm going with the lightweight version easily for a couple reasons. A, it's lighter weight, and I always love cutting down every ounce that I can on my folders. This thing comes in at 2.47 ounces, which is sick and ultra light, giving my ultra loved and regularly carried Delica 4 a run for its money as one of the lighter folders I have in my collection. It's also cheaper. This thing's gonna go for about $90 to $95, whereas the regular G10 version with S30V steel is gonna go between like $135 and $145, depends on who, what, when, where, why, and combinations and colors and stuff like that. So you can save between $40 and $50 on this blade, getting all the same profiles just in a lighter weight package. And I will have links for you guys below over to Blade HQ, GP Knives, Amazon. We really appreciate it when you use those hyperlinks that we offer to you. That after this video, if you are digging the Para 3 lightweight, regular, or any of the other blades that I'm showing you today, we appreciate when you use those hyperlinks, as well as all those other sites that we offer to you guys. Backcountry, Knockaround Sunglass Company, Mystery Ranch. We really appreciate it. Now, there's some differences with this as well. Obviously, FRN handle scales that have that awesome 3D texturing on there, very similar to a lot of Spydercos on the market. Now, what's different and why I like it more than the G10 version is that all the angles are machined really well and very rounded, particularly in here where your finger would rest. That feels very comfortable in the hand and more ergonomic than its G10 more expensive brother. It's just more contoured in the hand, and I really like that aspect to the blade. Now, the other major difference and part of that price difference not only is the different type of materials in the handle, but also that it has CTS BD 1N steel. Now, we've had BD1 steel for a while on the market. That's what the original Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight has. I have a Maximate version. You can now get S110 versions. There's a lot out there. Now, the original BD1 steel is a decent steel. It's not a mind-blowing super steel. I've seen that it kind of is competitive to the Spyderco VG10 that they use, maybe even slightly less edge retention capable. So it's not by any means a steel to write home about. The difference is that this BD1N steel is slightly better. And actually, when you go look at, and I'm going to recommend Cedric and Ada, their YouTube channel, awesome guy, really cool, and he does awesome edge retention tests, and he does a way better job than I could ever try and attempt to do, and I don't want to spend hours trying to cut rope. And what he found, and so I'd recommend if you want to see more edge retention videos and things like that, go check him out, go subscribe. I get a lot of good information about blade steels from him. And what he discovered is that the edge retention was better on this BD1N, better than the VG10 that Spyderco uses, and just slightly lower than the S30V that Spyderco uses. So it's in between S30V and VG10, which is really cool. And so for the money at under $100, that's really awesome that that's what this steel is. And I hope they start using that on more, because I'm not... the VG10 that they use currently is okay, but in the modern world, it's nothing to write home about. So to get something a little bit better, but still hitting a great price point with the BD1N is awesome. Another great aspect as well is the wire paperclip style loop over deep ride pocket clip that this thing is going to offer you, ambidextrous, which is fantastic. So it's going to give you a really low profile, great EDC carry, ride, and functionality, and be very comfortable and ergonomic. You don't have to upgrade that the standard Para 3 pocket clip that would come on the G10 version, which is more high ride and is somewhat large, and a lot of people like to get deep ride loop overs, but you have to spend extra money to get that. So this has zero need to be upgraded. I love this type of wire clip, and if you've ever used one, you probably do too. So guys, I mean, it's just under $100, USA made. I'm getting an ultralight blade now, great pocket clip, great action, good compression lock, really cool blade shape, really functional blade. I mean, so right away, this is connecting probably with a lot of you. Now, the questions would come in, and what I want to kind of show you first off is the Delica 4. With about the same blade edge, cutting edge, there we go, if I can keep it in frame, as the Delica 4, this thing has better steel than the VG10 version will, obviously, so it's going to hold a longer edge. And it has a slightly stouter overall blade for, I mean, very good slicing capability on the Para 3, but slightly better strength as well. The Delica 4 is still a razor blade in a pocket knife format, but is pretty precision, and you don't want to do a lot of flexing, a lot of hard work with the Delica 4. You might snap and break a tip or something like that. That's less likely with the Para 3, and you're going to hold an edge longer. It's going to be in the weight class, in my opinion, a better pocket clip ride that I prefer. I prefer the wire over this style. And you got to really give it a good wrist flick. You really got to take some effort to close the blade, and it's not a smooth action compared to the compression lock that the Para has. So we're having a very similar size blade, similar weight, with some great upgraded features for like $10 more than what you're going to pay about $80 now for the Delica 4. Now, the only consideration would be this, that the overall actual handle length of gripability, that's a word I'm going to use today, the gripability of the Delica from where the guard is right here all the way back to where your pinky is, you get a full grip. With my large size hands over large size gloves, I got all my hands resting with a little bit to spare out the back, but I have no finger choil, even though it's a pretty large ricasso that sometimes I will use when I'm doing really fine cutting. When it comes to the Para 3, it is a larger, fuller handle, so it actually fills out your hand more, but it's a little bit shorter. You can see there I don't have quite as much room. I feel like my hand is almost wanting to come off. My pinky is almost wanting to come off that back portion there. And so you can do it, and it's fully functional this way, but you tend to want to naturally go into the finger choil and use the knife this way. Then I have plenty of real estate to spare, again, with my large size gloves, and it has that designated finger choil with a little bit of jimping that you know from several different designs from Spyderco. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you don't really like finger choils and you want a full handle length, then the Delica 4 will be a little bit more ergonomic and comfortable in the hand. If you don't mind finger choils, you like finger choils, then there's no issue at all with the Para 3 and what that has to offer. You can still, again, grip back here, but I always feel like my pinky's kind of jamming in and crowding its siblings on my hand, versus that's not always happening quite as much with the Delica 4. So it's just food for thought on the handle ergonomics, but in every other aspect, when you compare it to the Delica 4, the Para 3 really makes sense and trumps the Delica 4 in most respects. But now, moment of truth. Does it trump my Manix 2 lightweight? You guys know this has been my favorite blade for years. Almost the entire length of this channel, going on almost 7 years. So could the Manix 2 now be usurped by its new kid on the block brother, the Para 3? It's going to have slightly more compact blade shape, obviously, than the Manix 2. The Manix 2 will have a larger leaf shape cutting edge. It will have a slightly more precision blade, taking longer to get down there, versus kind of a more stubby feel on the Para. They will both have designated finger choils, but again, getting a more cutting edge on the Manix. Now, the Manix is going to be different because it has that ball bearing locking mechanism that is super buttery smooth. I love it. It's kind of functions like an Axis lock in the sense of how you operate it, but it's different than an Axis lock. Very strong though, very good. All locking mechanisms all encaged in steel, and then the FRN handles on the outside of those. Very, very smooth, just as smooth in action as as the Para 3, this Manix 2 lightweight. Obviously, I'm going to get the same pocket clip, but actually the Para is going to be a better loop over, whereas we're not getting that with the Manix 2. You can see there, positives and negatives of that. We've done a whole video on pocket clip design. This guy is going to weigh 3 ounces, 2.47, so half an ounce less on the Para 3 than on the Manix 2 lightweight. But you can see there I have a full handle. I mean, I got a full handle right there for that extra half an ounce. I get a lot of real estate. I get a longer blade, and I still get the functionality of that finger choil and everything that's going on with it. Now, currently at about $90, you can only get the BD1 steel. Now that may quickly change to BD1N, or there are other options. The Maximate versions are still kind of floating around there. Those will go almost for $200. You can get S110V versions for I think like $130 on the Manix 2 lightweight. So the BD1 is not going to hold its edge as well for the exact same price as the BD1N that currently exists. Now that may be again upgraded, and I hope they do that. That would be awesome to see BD1N start rolling into, say, the Manix 2 lightweight line and some of their other lines. So what does that mean? If you were to ask me, it still comes down to the fact that I prefer the Manix 2 lightweight over the Para 3 lightweight to this day. Still to this day, the Manix 2. Mainly for the things that I listed. Larger overall blade length, bigger, fuller handle that I don't feel like the pinky is crammed in, and I don't have to use the choil unless I want to. This one, it feels like I still kind of am forced to use the choil if I want to get full grip and have all my fingers having all the space that they need. Now, that's not to say that the Para 3 lightweight is not an epic blade, because it is, and it is now where I sold off my Para 3 original. It just didn't really connect with me. This one connects with me a lot more because of some of the things we talked about. It's cheaper, the handle is slightly more ergonomic, it's lighter weight, better pocket clip. That makes it worthwhile, and I have carried it way more often than my Delica 4 since purchasing it. So I think it trumps the Delica 4, but can't quite kick out its brother, the Manix 2, mainly for shortness of blade and shortness of handle. But if those things aren't issues for you, or you don't mind just going straight to the choil, go with the Para 3. You're getting a freaking phenomenal knife. So I hope that this video has been fun, entertaining. Hope it's pointed you guys in the right direction. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Where do you sit? Are you a Manix 2 lightweight? Are you a Para 3 lightweight? Or are you not a lightweight guy at all? So I know some people, you just don't like the feel of FRN. You're like, man, it feels cheap. I know it's not, but I'm just concerned. You know, I get that. I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Where do you sit when it comes to handle material? And of these 3 knives, which one do you feel you gravitate most to? I love hearing those topics and the conversations that come out of them here at the channel. So we invite you to subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. Hit that subscription button. Check out the other videos popping up. Instagram, Facebook, check that stuff out as well. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. Boom. See you out there.